So as you can probably read from the title, you're probably wondering, is that really true? Did that guy really hack 1,000 dealerships out there? I'm here to tell you it is true, but it hasn't been disclosed until today. It's a brand new vulnerability that I discovered earlier this year, and I'm happy to be able to disclose it for the first time today. So thank you so much for coming out. Hope you enjoy it. So a little bit about me. I've been dabbling in automaker stuff for a few years now. I started with Toyota, and that's where I kind of gained my fame originally, and it got me my first job, actually. And since then, I've decided to try and target some other automakers like Honda, Volvo, and I've explored a few others since then, including this one I unfortunately can't name explicitly today, but they've been very supportive, and I appreciate their support in this presentation. So thank you very much for that. And I've also have had another security issue disclosure earlier this year with McDonald's McDelivery, which is a lot of fun. And there's a lot more on the way, so keep an eye on my blog. So my motivation with the automaker space is it's just for fun. One day I looked out into our parking lot, and we have Toyota cars. I'm like, what if I go on Toyota.com and try to find a vulnerability? And it didn't take long to find one. So they're very old companies with a lot of web domain space. Like, if you're looking at the screenshot on the slides, Toyota has like 3,000 subdomains, and there are many other manufacturers a lot more than that. So when I see that many subdomains, it gets me very excited because there's a lot of attack surface. What I typically look for is Angular and React apps, because when you have all the JavaScript files that get downloaded to your browsers, you can typically find secret API keys, endpoints, admin functionality. It's really a lot of fun. Now, getting to the point of what I hacked. So this particular automaker that I can't name, they make their own proprietary dealer system that every dealer in the US uses. And it's used by over 1,000 of them, which is basically all of them. And what I basically did was I found an exploit to create a national admin account. And with that level of access, you basically had root access to every dealer in that system in the US. And you could abuse that to start other people's cars and download their information. And the list goes on from there. So when you go into a dealership, when you want to order a car, they use this system to basically place the order and track it and keep you updated on the order. And they use it to facilitate sales, reports, finances. It's a cornerstone of their daily operations on everyday usage. It's secured with two-factor auth, and it's a very small, at least the front end is an Angular-based, very old front end. So with all that JavaScript, there's a lot of fun to be had. And that's what piqued my eye at first. So the front end of the site, when you go to it, it's just a basic login system where you have to enter your provided ID. There's no public registration. It's invite only. So what that means is when you're employed by the dealer, they send you an invite link to your corporate email, and then you are supposed to click that link and register your account. And when you go to the site, it checks your invite token. And if it's good or not, if it's good, it'll show the registration form where you can provide your info and finish your registration. If it's a bad token, like you can put 1, 2, 3 in there, it's not going to work. It'll just show an error message. So what I found is that the registration form is hidden in secret in the HTML, and you can just use the CSS trick to force show it. And then I wanted to try and see if you could actually submit the form and get it to go through. I wasn't hopeful of it because the post fields in the registration body had the invite token there. So that was not a good sign, but I decided to try it anyway with the blank token. And to my surprise, it actually worked. So once I submitted it, I got the email with the login credentials. Unfortunately, when I used the credentials, it still said that I was not authorized. Apparently, there's a second step where the dealership admin has to verify you. So I was kind of upset, and I was really stuck. And I spent a few days extra trying to figure out a way around that. The account was pretty useless. You couldn't do anything with it. They had no permissions, so it was kind of a dead end. I almost gave up on it. So there was a profile update button on the site that lets you establish a limited session to basically let you update your profile in case you made a mistake and like the dealership admin said, please fix your name, you made a mistake before I verify it. At least that's what I think it's probably used for. But what that functionality does is establish a very limited session, and then it lets you get into your profile with the J session ID cookie, so you can basically have limited access to the site from that point. So when you load the main front end of the site after that, you gain a lot of access to the backend, to the JavaScript bundle files. So that includes a lot of admin functionality too. This is all previously unavailable because without the valid session cookie, you would not get that far to be able to get these JavaScript files downloaded to your browser to poke around. So I spent a while looking for anything interesting like API keys, private impersonation endpoints, and what stuck out is the internal admin management system, specifically the user search system and creation functionality. So I pulled out the URL from that and tried to go to it. Unfortunately, it didn't quite work out that well, so I had to make some patches to the front-end JavaScript to actually get into the site. The first of which is to bypass this message here, which basically says your login dealer is invalid. And when you click close, it logs you out, so it was really annoying. So simple fix, find the message and comment it out. Then that message is gone. And then there's another background error that says access denied. And that was a different patch. Basically, when you load the admin page, it would redirect you to the access denied page because you obviously didn't have permissions to get to it. So I just replaced the redirect functionality with an empty string, which meant it wouldn't redirect you at all. So in theory, it should load the page. And it did. To my surprise, it will load a few users from the internal system and display them. And that was really that was a big breakthrough because this limited account suddenly could list all the users from the internal admin panel. And I was kind of shocked that it was working. Apparently there was a server-side bug that returned these users even though you're not supposed to access them. But what really stuck out, there was a create user button on that page. So when I click that, you get a new user creation page that's a lot better than the registration form on the front end of the site. And this has a lot of checkboxes for national, regional, sales, finance. So of course, I just check all of them. And then in the access rights, I just checked admin, dealer, administrators. And there's a lot more permissions there. It's like a CVS receipt, I call it. It just goes on forever. So from there, I tried to submit. I'd be really shocked if it went through, but it did. And checked the email inbox, and I suddenly have an admin account created in my name with a new user ID and password. And from there, I could just log into it. When you log into it the first time, you're asked to choose a dealer. And to my surprise, it just showed it'd be a list of 1,700 dealers to choose from. Some of those, I will note, are like test dealers. They use some for car shows, ports. The real numbers, a few hundred, less than that, I think. So, time for a real-world example with that level of access. I like to do weekend runs to Publix. I'm in Florida. I like to get some sushi on the weekends just because it's a fun thing to do. And I went to look for a vulnerable car. It didn't take long to find one. They're everywhere. So I went up to one, took a quick screenshot of the VIN number on the windshield, and then went back home to see what I can do with it. So there's a customer lookup tool inside the admin panel that lets you look up customers by name and VIN number. Important to remember, you can look up people by name. That'll come in handy shortly. But for this purpose, just plug in the VIN number, and suddenly you know the person's name, address, phone number, and there are just other various pieces of information about them. So that's kind of scary, I think, don't you think? And they would never know. You just dox them from taking a picture of their car. So now doing something even more exciting, taking control over a car. So when you go to a dealer, you buy a car, they use an enrollment system to pair you to their mobile app and back-end system, so you can log into the app and then control your car like open the doors, start the engine for climate starts, real-time track location, all the good stuff you probably enjoy every day. How many of you use that functionality? How many of you rejected it when you bought your car? Oh, you're not going to like what I have to say in a bit. So to test this out, I found a friend that was willing to let me remotely commandeer his car. So I created my own consumer account, and I wanted to try if I can reassign it from his profile to mine, and then log into the mobile app and control it. So the first step was to basically find your account in the system. It's easy. I just looked up my name, and then I select Add Vehicle. The second step is to provide the car's VIN number. So I just plug in the VIN number there, and then you're supposed to, there's a few bullet points there that the salesperson is supposed to verify, and they basically want you to check that the person actually owns the car, that the car is there, and that they are who they say they are. So they want you to pinky promise this, because when you click continue, it doesn't actually ask you for anything else. And then the next step, they want you to enter the odometer and a few driving habits, which I thought was kind of silly. So they want to know if apparently the salesperson asks if you're a bad driver, and I guess you're supposed to be honest with them. And then the next step is just confirm the customer's address and name and so forth. And then at least with my test, the ownership assignment was successful. It says my account was created, and I should have ownership of the car. So I did take a video, but since it's revealed the brand of the car, I can't show it. But basically, since it was reassigned to my account, I would log into the mobile app, and then I would have access to the remote control functionality, start the engine, real-time location tracking, and basically it was like my car, so I could just go over and get it if I wanted. And of course, the car was transferred back to my friend without any issues. So for those who raised their hand earlier, where you reject the offer of getting the mobile app set up, the thing is, with this reassignment process, it's a bit noisy. The current owner gets an email that your car was deactivated from your account. So they would probably set off some alarm bells. But ultimately, all the cars have the 4G chip, so it's talking to the server either way, whether you register or not. So when you don't register with them, and I take it over, you wouldn't know. You would not get the email since they don't know your email. So it would just be, I would be the first owner of your car, technically. It's just a silent takeover. And this, from what I read, it basically affected model year 2012 and newer, by the way. So probably most cars on the road right now. So going a bit deeper, I found an internal user impersonation function. So what sites my national admin accounts could not access, I could just find a high-level employee and just take over their accounts in the back end. It was very easy to do that, and once you did that, you basically could bypass the two-factor authentication, and they would not know it. So at this point, I have full national access. I can SSO into any system with the national admin account, and what I couldn't access, I just impersonated another employee to get it. And here's a few highlights of the systems. TSD Dealer Admin, which is like a third-party loaner system. They're contracted to provide loaner services for this particular manufacturer. So when you get your car serviced and you're supposed to get a loaner, they put your information into here, and you get your loaner car. And I can basically get full access to all the dealers and their loaner platforms. What that means is I have your driver's license number, insurance policy numbers, and date of birth, and phone number, and email. So it's just a huge cache of PII right there waiting to be discovered. And there's also an optional feature that some dealers use. It's the connected car feature. It's an optional feature that lets you real-time track the rental cars you give out. So in case you live in a sketchy area, you want to make sure that they're not taking the car out of a geofence area. Back into the internal dealer system, you can also view the employee social security numbers, but if you click the view full number, you will get added to the audit log. So I had to settle for looking at the API responses just to find the last 4. But the funny thing is, you could view the audit log too, but I don't think you could delete your entry. Now, inventory control. I had access I could order cars on behalf of dealers. They have their systems to order cars. I had full access to it. So you can log in as a dealer, order cars, and that would obviously be a bad thing to happen. And I also had some access to the regional settings. So this is the part of the order tool that the corporate part of the company uses to actually like distribute cars and all that. So I didn't want to go too deep into this because one wrong button click and I can probably get in a lot of trouble. So I was very careful to not go too deep into it. But there was a lot of special access that the National Laminate account had when you could order cars. And you could also cancel car deliveries to dealers too. There's a system called Freight Verify, which you can use to track cars on the way across the nation to various dealerships. So there was a cancel button there, and that would obviously be a bad thing if you just canceled a car in shipment. You'd probably cause a lot of havoc that way. Another internal system was the finance portal. So when you finance a car, you buy those contracts they try to sell you on. Those PDFs get generated and stored in here. So I had access to all those, of course, and those are loaded with PII. And there's another company called Optimum Auto Solutions. They make a few automotive internal portals, and those are easy to SSO into as well. One of them stood out is the finance portal, and this gave me basically a regional overview of the entire balance sheets for all the dealers. So it showed me who's in the red, who's doing well, and who might need a little help from you guys to buy cars. You can also view the KPIs, which is a key performance indicator, and that's basically a measure of performance on how well the dealer's doing across the nation. And one thing I thought was pretty cool, you can view the nationwide dealer rankings. So from all those 1,000 dealers, like your friends will probably tell you, that dealer's really bad, this dealer's really good, but that's just all hearsay. This is real data I had access to actually see who the good dealers are, who get all the good reviews, and who gets all the good bad reviews. And that was a nice list to look at. Some of my local dealers, I think, could use some improvement. And there's also some JD Power portals where we can look at analytics and sales for all the dealer websites. And there's a lead portal, like when dealers take your information over the phone, email, you can look at all of those leads and get all the information from them. And there's like hundreds of thousands of entries there. So maybe another reason not to just submit your information on sales forms. Another one, which I thought was really interesting, you know those surveys you get when you buy a new car or you get your car serviced? They want to know how they did. It's the salespeople say it's really important to them because it gives them their commission and all that. So with the National Laminate accounts, you can view all the surveys people have ever submitted, ever. And that's like 200,000 for sales and 450,000 for service. I'll read one of them to you. The car was in the shop for over a month and the communication was terrible. But there are a lot of good reviews too. So I think some dealers do take pride in their customer service. So I wish I could show this on the screen, but they basically have a map that they feed a bunch of data sources into. It's not exactly clear to me how it's generated, but basically salespeople are supposed to use it to kind of get a demographic of where their potential sales customers can come from. And they're basically a data point of more than 9 million people out there, all across the US. And the last thing I'll share today, you had access to the dealer's email and mail platform too, and access to their customer list. And you can basically create a phishing email using the dealer's bank account and send it out. Of course, I didn't try that, but pretty sure it would work. So there's a lot more than that, but it was kind of hard to fit that into just a 25-minute presentation. So the disclosure timeline with this was, I basically found this on January 26th of this year. spend about a week going through the various systems, trying to figure out anything interesting to find. And the actual takeover of the car was one of the last things I managed to do because that was a bit obscure. So I reported through the automaker's VDP, and they fixed it in just a few days. Their response was really, really great. And over the past few months, I've been talking with them, trying to get this presentation done and trying to give them advice on how they can improve their systems further. And they're really generally great to work with. So we should all be very happy that this company took these problems so seriously and made it fix in just a few days. So what you take away from this is the dealer systems are very powerful, more powerful than you might expect. Like, would you really think that a low employee could just suddenly take control over your car? And that's just like, you could potentially keylog a dealer employee and get the same level of access I did. So it was just a ticking time bomb waiting to happen. Like, these simple flaws, like, it was only the missing invite token verification that's opened this up. Just a simple one-line fix is probably all it took. So just simple problems like that opened a nationwide dealer network to total control by me. So there's not a lot you could have done to save yourself from this either, except maybe take out your 4G unit. I don't even think your head unit could actually deactivate the module. So that's all I got for you. Hope you enjoyed. I do have some stickers up here, so I welcome you to come up and get some. Questions? Yes. I'm not sure. I don't know how we would actually tell it where to go, but potential. I think it would be possible. But I think someone would have noticed and I would have gotten in trouble. Yes. Certificate transparency logs are a great source. That's how I find basically all my targets.